in die Zukunft vorgegriffen, sage ich einmal, und haben hier gegambelt, ob denn das ankommt. Schaut sehr, sehr gut aus, was mich sehr freut. Und nur ein paar ganz kurze Worte, dann geht es auch schon los. Mich freut es sehr, dass eigentlich eine sehr schwierige Saison mit massenhaft Spielabsagen, ganz vielen Corona-Infizierten doch eigentlich mit einem recht guten Ende oder mit einem guten Ende geendet hat. Wir konnten die Meisterschaft sowohl in Wien fertig spielen als auch in Österreich. Einzige Geschichte war natürlich, dass es keine richtige reguläre Meisterschaft war, da so viele Matches ausgefallen sind. Trotzdem, gerade am Ende der Saison ist vor der Saison, deswegen haben wir uns auch entschieden, wieder die Coach-Klinik durchzuführen. Einige Monate haben wir hier getüftelt, dass wir eben jetzt so weit einmal gekommen sind. Und ich hoffe, dass die Coach-Klinik euch Coaches dabei hilft, erstens neue Inhalte zu sehen oder vielleicht schon bekannte Inhalte aufzufrischen. Auf der anderen Seite natürlich auch, dass man sich untereinander vielleicht vernetzt und vielleicht trifft sich ja der ein oder andere dann mit zur Zusammenarbeit mit einem anderen. Die Veranstaltung würde heute so nicht stattfinden, wenn da nicht auch eine ganze Menge an Leute wären, die nicht nur mir, sondern uns geholfen haben. Das ist die mir diese Sachen immer erlauben. Das ist der WBV-Vorstand an erster Stelle. Der Präsident Thomas Holzgruber, er kann heute nicht dabei sein, er ist auf Auslandsreise. Möchte mich auch bedanken beim Finanzchef vom WBV, beim Smajo Basalic, der trotz Risiken das Ganze auch genehmigt hat. Die Sportreferentin Gitti Zahor und auch ein Riesendank an unsere Damensportreferentin Martina Remmler. Denn sie hat uns die Mary Andrade zukommen lassen, fast schon wie ein Geschenk. Da sie zufällig in Europa ist, kommt sie auch bei uns vorbei. Ihr werdet sie später heute hören. Ein Danke an die Stadt Wien, ein Danke an das Demo-Team. Hier möchte ich auch noch ganz kurz dem Hubert Schmidt danken, der mich auch schon letzte Saison, auch diese Saison wieder unterstützt hat beim Finden eines Demo-Teams. Danke an den ÖBV, der uns ebenfalls unterstützt. Ganz, ganz wichtig, danke an die FIBA Europe, die uns den Thorsten Leubel schickt und somit sind wir auch für die FIBA eine qualitativ ansprechende Veranstaltung. Ja, alle Coaches, alle Vortragenden, die teilnehmen, ist nicht selbstverständlich, auch jetzt am Ende der Saison, anstatt eines Urlaubs, doch auch bei uns zu sein. Einer unserer Vortragenden wird auch direkt aus dem Urlaub kommen, was mich ganz besonders freut, das ist dann morgen. Danke an die Helfer, die heute in der Halle sind und mithelfen. Diverse Berater und Helfer, die mir, aber auch uns zur Seite stehen, wie der Philipp Trattner, der Ernst Weiß. Auch ein Danke an den Chris Nikolic, der mich beraten hat bei so manchen Dingen. Danke an unseren Tontechniker, den Lorenz Mack, der für den Livestream verantwortlich ist. Und jetzt komme ich auch zum Ende. Ein riesengroßes Dankeschön an die Petra Hönig. Die Petra hat ihren Teil der Veranstaltung übernommen und muss eigentlich meinen Teil, den jetzt ich in der Halle machen müsste, auch übernehmen. Ohne dir, Petra, wäre das Ganze überhaupt gar nicht mehr möglich. Deswegen auch von mir ein riesengroßes Dankeschön dafür. Das war es auch schon. Unser erster Vortragender, der Yue Zong Tsai. Ich bin ganz happy, dass er da ist. Denn es stand ein bisschen auf der Kippe, da er, noch in Vorfreude ist, gell, Zong, dass du Vater wirst. Möglicherweise hätte auch ein Geburtstermin sein können, aber ich glaube, er war noch nicht. Ein ganz spannendes Thema, mit das ich auch erst einmal wirklich googeln musste. Neuroathletcs, ich möchte gar nicht oder ich kann gar nicht viel dazu sagen, deswegen übergebe ich gleich das Wort an den. Ich wünsche euch viel Spaß. Wenn es technische Schwierigkeiten mit dem Livestream gibt oder so, meldet euch bitte sofort, entweder bei mir direkt, ihr habt meine Handynummer, oder via den Chat. In diesem Sinne, ich wünsche euch heute und auch wer morgen kommt, einen schönen, coolen Tag an der Coach-Klinik. Dankeschön.
So, good morning. We have to hold the clinic in English, so I was asked to do this in English. Okay. First of all, thank you for the invitation that I can allowed to present you my topic, neuroathletic training, and shortly about my person. Some of you guys know me probably, some of you don't, but just a quick. I've been in basketball since I played youth basketball in Austria, and then I started coaching in 1997 when I was 17 years old. Then I was deciding playing or coaching, and then I decided to coach more than I played. And I've been coaching under 10 to second Bundesliga. So that's my basketball background. Now I play with old guys just for fun. And a couple of you guys probably know these guys. And I quit basketball coaching 3 years ago because it was a problem with the time, because my actual profession, where I make a living out of it, is I'm a sports scientist. So I studied sports science at the University of Vienna, and I started working with patients, back problems, knee problems, after recovery and all that, in 2006. And the Dr. Gruber, he's the orthopedic surgeon for the men's skiing national team, and mostly known for that. And he's asked me that we together open up a training center where we can focus on patients coming back, athletes, and even normal people, office people, and retired people. And so we opened up a training facility called Sporthalle Wien, where I run a team of sports scientists, where we focus on the office guy until the Olympic athlete. Right now we have the Basket Flames women, we have the Timberwolves Academy for summer training. These are the basketball guys. We used to have the Basket Flames guys in the Bundesliga guys for testing, and now we have Olympic athletes who play beach volleyball now at the World Championships in Rome. So they just won, which is really nice. The one team that we're focusing on. And so that's basically my background from athletic training. I mean, we also have taekwondo guys and all that. So we have different sports people and also skiing pros. And we always see them when they're injured. Coming back from injury, after surgery, there's physio, and then training. And then most of you guys, it's the worst nightmare of a coach and a player when your guys are injured. And you buy a guy or in professional basketball, and then he's injured. Somehow it steps on a foot or whatever, and you don't want to have that. So, and we work on that we bring those guys back and even keep them healthy. And next to that, I used to teach at this university. I'm still teaching at the university, at the Sigmund Freud private university. What does a sports scientist do there with future doctors and dentists? We teach them posture and Haltungsprävention, it's called, for dentists, which means we teach them in a 4-semester course of the master studies how to prevent the future injuries due to their working profession, because they have to be working like this on the patient every time, and then it takes like 3 to 5 years until the first doctor has problems with their body. And it applies to mostly all sports or professions mostly. If you're a professional sports athlete, it's too much sport. And then you will have to take care of your body, and your body is the most precious thing that you will have to take care of. And for the normal office profession, most people, they work in a sitting environment, and that's also a big problem, because that's the other end of that story. So, okay, and yeah, you can see all the things that I've done, blah, blah, good. Okay, let's focus on basketball. I mean, all of you guys probably have heard from many trainer courses how the basketball player is set up of. I like to present that because, like, neuroathletic training, where does that fit into? Because we have the basketball player's performance, and then we also have like the technical skills, the coordination, and also what motor skills the person has. Then also tactical skills, cognitive abilities. They don't have to be Einstein, but they have to have a basketball IQ somehow. Yeah, and you probably love players who have great and high basketball IQ. So that's the cognitive factors. Social factors, because it's not a single one-person sport. You have a team. You have maybe 1, 2, 3 starts, and then you have role players. And then also the social abilities to fit into each role is really important. And then the conditioning part, that's the part where mostly I focus on with my clients who are from sports. That's like strength, speed, endurance, and also flexibility, mobility. And then we also have like genetic factors, which people, like some countries, most countries, they scout. They look at what parents we have. In Austria, we once had the Big Man Academy, where people scouted like people who are predicted to be really tall, because basketball is a sport for tall people. Meaning, doesn't mean that small people cannot play it, but tall people they have an advantage. If they can do the same thing like a small person and have all the same abilities, I'd prefer probably to take the big guy. Psychological factors are also more important, and yeah, so that's one part. And where does neuroathletics fit into that? Anybody heard of neuroathletic training or neurocentric training, center training? Anyone? Okay. Where would you fit that into that? Coordination part, somehow, yeah, because I will get to the basics to neurocentric training, and you will probably not be a neuroathletic training expert after this session. It takes a long time. Probably there's like an educational system where they teach you to be a neuroathletic trainer, but most of the things, they're not new. But they gave it like a really good name. It's neuroathletic training. So most of the things we already do in training, but we don't know it's neuroathletic training. We just think it's good for our guys to develop coordination, mobility, and all that stuff. But neuroathletic training or neurocentric center training is the explanation why some things work, how they work. Okay. Next one, that's a basketball formula. You don't have to learn that by heart, but that's a basketball formula from a basketball coach who tells you that it's like almost the same, but he puts in more, he just puts in a more detailed way, and also basketball motor ability. He just like splits that up. Then all the technical elements, I just like that we're on the same page, that we know, okay, where we can use those things. Technical elements in basketball, stance, layup, shot, passing, like all the fundamentals of basketball, most of the things should be listed here. These are the things that the players, they work with. And then the tactical elements, probably if you know these things, how to play those systems, you can probably play under every coach. And with, actually you have to be able to do both slides, and then you're a pretty good basketball player, I think. Okay, and just like characteristics of basketball, it's intermittent and all that, a lot of sprints. So it's a fast sport. We love it because it's fast, it's exciting, and it's a lot of stress. Basketball is stress because we have always time restrictions. It's 24 seconds, it's 8 seconds, it's 5 seconds with the ball, it's 3 seconds in the paint. So it's like every time stress. And if you want to make good basketball players, you have to build basketball players who love stress and who can cope with stress. So this is like really important. And then like from the athletic part, that's the things that you need. It's like jumping strength, shooting strength, and all that. Endurance, flexibility, and mobility. And then when you put up a basketball player, a pyramid, what matters most? You have on the top basketball performance, and then basketball skills. But the most important part is the basics, the fundamentals. And this is not basketball, it's if the player is healthy, if he's able to move well, and if he's able to have good mobility, that comes first, then he's able to be stable. This is really important because when your player, like, you have to decide, like, he doesn't have to be a yoga guy to flex his legs here, but if he's able to bring his leg up here through stretching, he better be able to do it on his own, actively. Like, for example, if I have a person and I can lift his leg really up here passively by holding it, and then I tell him, okay, now you lift your leg on your own, and he can only lift it here, then there's like a big problem because the range of motion between active and passive mobility, that's the range where people get injured. Yeah? And if he cannot like really use the motor skills in that area, or for example for the shoulder, for every joint, then that's the area where when he makes a step and then he goes further into that area, range of motion, where he passes the active range that he can really use, that's the position where he mostly like strains, gets like a hamstring pull or whatever, yeah, or like the tendons, and that's like 6 weeks, 2 to 6 weeks, when your player's out, and mostly, and the problem is when you don't know what kind of injury it is, and you don't have the medical team who supports you and tells you, okay, you have to get physio, you have to get a doctor, he has to do medical training or whatever, then it probably will take this player longer to come back because he will play not fit and you just keep playing him, and then the problem is that player will probably get severely injured later. Okay, like tactics, just, okay. Let me see, does that work? That's like how you can run tactics. We have a lot of, I just used another sport. So, that somehow works too. So, and it could be a touchdown, yeah. We can do trick plays and all that stuff. That's also tactic from another sport, where you can see. That's soccer, obviously. Because basketball, you guys know probably plenty of trick plays. Let's see what happens here. Okay. Okay, people just focus. And then thing is the distraction. Maybe this play just works once, but it's a goal. And in soccer, one goal is probably the game. And then technique is also important, basketball techniques, but we just use another technique here, which uses a lot of motor skills. So this is important, conditioning and coordination. And you said already you would fit that into that conditioning, coordination, flexibility part, which is really important to know. Okay, neuroathletic training, where does it base? The base is like from Dr. Eric Kopp, the guy on the left side. He's the founder of Z Health, and I met him in 2019, and I went to Munich for a clinic in order to get to know neuroathletic training, because in the sports scientists have been talking about neurocentric training. What is that? And I was like kind of curious, so I went to Munich and to see what was the secret about neuroathletic training. And he's the founder of Z Health, and it's a really big program. They have a big institute where they really have an educational system where you can also learn here. And one of my colleagues, he's in that educational system. It's quite expensive, but it's really well done and well built up. And the guy who learned was his student, was the guy on the right side. It's Lars Lienhardt. He brought that to German-speaking countries. He has become famous because he has been working with the German soccer national team, and they were pretty successful. And now he's working with a lot of athletes. And now it's tennis player Zverev, who's under his vision. And he's a sports scientist. And these are the two guys like mostly known for neuroathletic training. And I brought 2 books from Lars Lienhardt that you can skip through. And he has written like 4 books now about neuroathletic training, really practical. And the part where you get the background info is put down like that everybody should be able to read it and understand it. And he has a lot of exercises in that book. One is like basic neuroathletic training, then one is for strength, one is for speed, and one is for pain patients, for chronic pain patients. And these are the fields where he applies that. So, how does posture and movement work? It's like 3 systems that are working. Well, just a moment. It's like the central neural system, the zentrale Nervensystem, and then we have the muscles, and then we have also the passive system, which is this skeletal system, your bone structure. These 3 interact, and without these 3, everybody uses these 3 systems to move. And then neurology simplified. The nervous system does 3 things. First, you get info through your receptors. Most things, the sense that we use most is the eyes. Yeah. So if you take away your eyes, that's a big problem. And then in neuroathletic training, the eyes are the most important part where you can get most out of it. Because in basketball, you also have you act on optical things, and because it's not yelling, maybe the listening part is one part, but actually you see, you kind of process that in your mind, in your brain, and then you have an answer, a solution, and you have a motor output. And this is like easy. So reception through the afferents, like the sensor is the eye, then the information wanders to your brain, then there comes the interpretation. What info do you have? And then you have a solution where you like make a decision, and then you act on it, and then you have the motor output. which is like really important. This is easy stuff. That's how everything works. And what kind of outputs can we have? We have first on the left side the survival outputs, and then on the right side the performance outputs through everything that we receive. Like on the left side, survival can be like pain, fatigue, inflexibility, immobility, dizziness, poor movement, poor balance, and migraines. And then what we want for our sport is high coordination, strength, speed, pain-free movement, immune health, endocrine health, and then great balance. And the thing is, what's important is when you say like the startle reflex, it's in German the Schreckreflex, yeah? That's like that is something that everybody of us we have, yeah? It's our generalized genetically hardwired response to threats. It is characterized by two primary muscle actions. It's flexion and adduction. So if you get scared or somebody scares you, what do? What's your body position probably? It's like going down, like something like this. Probably you see something swimming your way, and then you flex, you use your flexor muscles, and then adduction muscles, yeah? So you kind of try to protect yourself, okay? This is good to know, because when you have a player and you see him doing things like flexion, or when you're under stress, it's like pulling your shoulders up, changing your breathing rhythm, then you probably know that player doesn't feel comfortable. He says, "I'm fine, coach," but the body language tells you different stuff. So flexion is like something when he cramps down, and then in training, we tell him, okay, breathe. In strength training, it's really important. Most strength and athletic trainers, they tell you, okay, in personal training, breathe in and breathe out. That makes sense, because people who are not used to strength training, especially when we have pain patients, they hold their breath, cramp down, and then they do the strength exercise. And if you don't tell them to breathe, then they will probably pass out sometime, because they don't have any oxygen to keep on going with the movement. And then like for pain patients, it's really important, for especially chronic pain patients, to find the normal breathing pattern, because if you don't fix the breathing pattern in a chronic patient, you can train whatever you'd like to. That patient will never, probably not get the best results. He will get better, but he could have gotten a better result if you fix the breathing problem. They roll up into a ball, fetal position. Yeah, this is like everybody was in that position. So starter reflex, like in a movie, scary movie, or you see Sean Bradley getting dunked on, which is really scary, by Tracy McGrady. So I was looking for basketball pictures where people like really have, and I Googled basketball getting dunked on or posturized, and mostly you mostly find people like trying to block the ball, which is really good, but this is like, he's kind of afraid. Okay, das wollte ich nicht. Okay, good. Let's see. Kann man das Bild irgendwie rausgeben? Actually, when you like think of yourself, when you're like scared or just like got shocked by something all of a sudden, which muscle groups you're using, and then out of that you know what you don't want to have in your players. Okay, perfect. I didn't change it into German. Okay, the head is going down, and then everything which is what is done through the startle reflex is like you protect your body. Yeah, if somebody like beats you and hits you like in a fight, and you don't know how to like protect yourself, most people like do this, which is a normal reflex. And also in self-defense programs, some programs use those reflexes in order to protect yourself. Because like in one system, when you like are ambushed or somebody threatens you, you just like put your hands up, duck down, use your hands to protect your head, and then show them, okay, I'm no fear. And in the same way, in the same time, you're protecting yourself. And it's like, in order to teach self-defense, there's like the 5-minute rule that people tell you. What's the 5-minute rule? And this is like, probably you can also use that in basketball. If it's something that where you don't master, like something that you cannot master in 5 minutes, the basics, you'll probably need a lot of training in order to use it. So for self-defense, you can do a black belt, and which takes you like 7 years, 8 years of training, but you want to be able to self-defend yourself right away or pretty soon. Then you better use some techniques which are easy to handle and what you already have in you. Like somebody threatens you, you go like this, and then you use techniques from here. Yeah? And this is like, if you can use something like that for basketball, I haven't so far come up with a lot, but it should be good for the player and easy to learn. This is like really important, because otherwise, if it's over 5 minutes, like then you will take a lot of repetitions in order to make the player, to make it a habit, and without thinking about it. That he does it unconsciously, like, because in your conscious mind, you can focus on one thing. But in basketball, you have to see probably 10 things. You have to see the basket, you have to see your 4 teammates, you have to see 5 opponents. And you have to see the ball if you don't have the ball, yeah? So mostly 10 things at least. Then you have to listen, probably what your coach wants or what your playmaker wants you to do. And then you have to see the shot clock, and you have to have in mind time and score, probably in a close game. So that's a lot of things, and you better make sure that the player knows everything on their own. And we have been learning that from the D course. It's fundamentals that you bring into the player, that he can do that no matter what the pressure is. And then you can focus on one thing. And then if you take timeouts, how much information do you give in a timeout that the player can process? So I don't know, you cannot start coaching like in the timeout, but you can take out, in my opinion, like if you give like a lot, 3 or 4 things, it's too much for a timeout to process. But you can do things that you can tell them to do things that they're able to do, and they already know how to do it. I mean, the thing is, you should, all the things that you tell them in timeout, you should have done in practice. Like, try to be able to prepare for every thing that can come up in a game. The threat bucket, that means the brain interprets like all the information. Everything comes into the threat bucket. Yeah, that's your brain. Everything comes in. It's like previous experiences. If a familiar situation has caused pain, which is felt, cultural factors, social environment, expectations of consequences. Like in the case of a surgeon, if a surgeon gets a hand injury, it's a big thing for that surgeon, because he makes a living out of that. And if he has a hand hand injury, it's a big problem for a construction worker. Okay, well, I go. It's not such a big. It's a problem, but it doesn't cause such a big problem. Like for instance, for somebody who has to make a living out of that, because that heals. And then if the fine motor skills for a surgeon don't work, they will lose their ability to work. And then also, beliefs, which is really important. If somebody tells you all the time you cannot do it and you start believing that, you can't do it. You will probably not be able to do it. So a winner mentality is really important. And general beliefs, they can manifest in your brain. Yeah? When you have a player who says, I cannot shoot foul shots, then he will not be able to do that. Even if you have the best coaches here, you have to make him believe he can improve that. And it's the same with patients who have disease. If we have a lot of chronic patients, like no sports people, normal people, a lot of patients come to our practice and they have a general belief, if I move and do sports or do some training or whatever movement, I will hurt myself. And movement, and the first thing that we do with those patients is we try to bring a positive belief to them that movement is good for them. Yeah, like probably you need psychotherapy, and training, in-person training setting is a lot of psychotherapy. Even if I'm not a psychotherapist, they tell you a lot of stuff, and then you start to realize how they think about things. And if you try to like improve their pain sensation and make that go away, you have to probably also dig into that stuff. And then after everything that you have in your thread bucket, your brain kind of processes that, and then you get an interpretation out of it, and then an output. This is like really easy. And then how does that work? You have like, the brain is like easy stuff. You have an old brain and a new brain, and your old brain is the first in priority. Like the old brain does non-reasoning, non-rational, seed of emotion, like acts as the gatekeeper of the second brain. That means if your old brain doesn't give free things and says, okay, green light, then the second brain cannot operate really well, or doesn't even operate. So what does it mean? The first question, the most important question that your brain does is, if you have a sensory input, you see something, then your brain starts to think at first, is that safe for me? That works cautiously or unconsciously, yeah? That is the always first question, is it safe? And after that, if your brain tells you, okay, it's safe, then you're able to do things that the new brain does. The new brain or second brain does memory, you can use your language, creativity, decision-making, movement, which is important for our sport. Like everything is important on the right side. But when you're like in shock, in panic, all the things that the second brain does don't work at all. This is like really important to know, because what's also important, you have a player who is injured, who just like stepped on a foot, and he has pain, yeah? And then that's, for the body, you get through the receptors, okay, you stepped on something, that starts to hurt, and then all the mechanics start to work. What mechanics? Like everything that protects your body. This is like normal, that's like normal for us because we want to work. And for instance, in February, I dislocated my shoulder on a skiing trip. I was stupid. I was skiing backwards, filming, and then the guy who I was filming didn't tell me that the slope ended. Or he told me too late, so he said, stop, and I tried to stop, and then the slope was ended, and I just like fell, popped my arm into the snow, and then my arm popped out, and it was here. And I knew right away, okay, I just like checked everything, and I said, oh, okay, I dislocated my shoulder. And I knew right away I had to pop that in right away, and there was nobody there who could do this, and I couldn't do that on my own on the slope. So I knew, okay, right now it doesn't hurt. I have my reflex, the shock, and this is like everything that saves you right in the moment. And everything should make sense. And I cramped together like after 25 minutes, but then I was already at the doctor's because I took my ski, I put it on, I skied down all the way, took a taxi, went to the doctor, and then like in 30 minutes or so, my shoulder was already in. So it took me like it was pretty fast there. But the last 10 minutes at the doctor, taking the x-ray of the shoulder, that was terrible. Then everything cramped together. And the cramping is always a thing that your body does when you have pain, when there's danger. And then you cannot do a lot, but the cramping, the goal of the cramping is to kind of protect yourself, against pain. And sometimes when time passes and then something heals, the structure is already fine, but still the cramping part is still in your brain. And then your brain still remembers, okay, there was pain, you had that, and then you somehow have to erase that from your memory. And sometimes, like all of you guys probably know, stepping on a foot, ankle injuries, and how hard it is to bring a player back from just like stepping on a foot and bringing him back. And the biggest problem of an ankle injury is a previous ankle injury, because most, like 60% probably, of the ankle injuries are previous ankle injuries which are not like healed or trained really well. And that's because like all the structures are fine, you don't have any pain, but still you don't have the motor ability because your brain tells you it's not safe that you do that. And then you have a problem with all the motion, like all the small parts where you move. So basic brain concept. Most important task of the brain is to ensure survival. And then the second most important task is movement. First survival, then movement. Okay? This is the most important part. And the brain needs two things. We need energy supply, we need oxygen and glucose in order to function. And what's really important is like, if you don't have oxygen, then you have a problem. I mean, people, we like to eat, and I like to eat, but food is not that important because we can go without food 2 weeks. We can go without water for a couple days, but without oxygen, it's a couple minutes and then you're gone. And that's important, that in order to like really function well, you need to also focus on the breathing, that your breathing, we all take breathing for granted because we just breathe, but correct breathing techniques, all these things, we can also teach players. And then like it has a big tradition in martial arts, breathing, meditation, and you can use breathing in order to like calm people down, or if people like they have no power, you can also fire them up with breathing. So this is like also important. And also, if it's done wrong, you can have a lot of negative effects, like not getting rid of chronic pain. Activation, And how does the brain keep us alive? So it's always pattern recognition. You probably know this picture. What is it? What do you see in this picture? What is it? What kind of animal? Who sees a duck? Hand up. Okay, who sees a rabbit? Who sees both? Okay. And with things like that, your brain is kind of somehow like confused, Doesn't know what it is. And it's always pattern recognition, and you better get clear signals for your body in order to have like a good motor output, what we want to have. So you get the info from the analyzers, programming of the movement sequence, target value, and then controls impulse to muscles innovation, and then you have the movement execution. Constant feedback is like always going back and forth. It's so fast, you can't even think about it. It's automatic. And then target, actual, comparison. And then you always have a comparison in your brain which tells you, okay, is that the thing that I want to do? Yes, it is. Then I can keep going, or it's not, then I have to correct. For shooting, it's really good. When you shoot, okay, is that the target? Is that the kind of sensation that you want to with the output, that the ball goes through the net? If not, you have to correct that. And the brain does all that in really short time. Voluntary motor skills, it's like that you see how it's done. Like you have like the receptors, it goes to the brain, and then from the brain there goes the info to the muscles, and then you have the contraction. So sensory, that's how it works in your brain. You don't have to learn that and present to your players, but actually that's the one thing how it works. So it goes all through the brain, through the structure. Then you have like the motor information, and then also on the right side, the program, how you execute it. And then all that is in here. You have your vestibular system, which is the Gleichgewichtsorgan in your ear, which tells you the body position, and you have to know that your body always wants to be stable. So if he always wants to correct to be in a stable way. So this is important to know. And you have receptors in your muscles, in your joints, everywhere, and everything goes into your brain. And then also like I will tell you, the next slides will tell you also all kind of receptors that we have. Afferent receptors, proprioceptors, that's probably the thing that you've heard most. Proprioceptive training. That's always, people like tell them, okay, we have to do functional training, which is sensory training, and also proprioceptive training. So most people kind of like tell them, okay, it's balance training. And then I like to ask the trick question. If I stand on one leg, I already told you that's a trick question. When I stand on one leg, what kind of training is that when I balance here? Is that Gleichgewichtstraining, balance training, or not? That's balance training, Gleichgewichtstraining. Okay. I told you already, it's a trick question because it's actually when you stand on one leg and you just like try to hold your posture, then it's actually proprioceptive training, and it's not really Gleichgewichtstraining, because in order to have like Gleichgewichtstraining or balance training, you need to use your vestibular organ. That means you have to use your head movements in order to like disturb the three parts. So that means like, that's just a term. In order to like really stimulate balance, you need to move your head. Yeah, you can try that. Probably everybody knows it. If you want to, you can stand up, please. And try to like balance out on one leg. Yep. And then imagine you watch a tennis game, yeah? You watch Dominic Thiem coming back and finally winning one game, going left and right, and like boom, boom, boom. And once you start moving your head, or even if you just tilt your head to the side, it's kind of hard to hold your balance. And it's now imagine in that's like really easy stuff, yeah? That's basics. But if you have a player who has a problem standing on one leg, we probably don't want our players to, especially in the beginning, shoot off one leg shots, yeah? But if you have a person who has problems with their balance, tilting their head, and then in basketball we have to move our head and our eyes really fast, then you better work on that, because the motor output is a big problem when you have problem with your posture and your reflexive stability, reflexive Stabilität. This is like really important, because That's basics, yeah, for the body. Then you have, I will give you the, so what kind of receptors do you have? You have mechanoreceptors, barioreceptors, like all these 6 receptors, like the 6th one is for pain, then you have for heat, and then also for pressure. The 2nd one, barioreceptors, they tell you how your blood pressure is, and also mechanics. And then the perception for bodily sensations and feelings, everything keeps us alive. And what is important, these things have to work. Heart, pulse, breathing, visceral organs, thermoregulation, and feeling that something belongs to me. And the last part, feeling that something belongs to me, this is like really common, that like most of your players do that. Feeling that something belongs to me is like the Faszienrolle, the black roll that the people use. When you roll on every part, whatever, then your brain gets stimulated. Meaning, when you have like something external touching you, or then you realize, okay, somebody's touching you on your leg, then you feel the leg, and then the info comes to your brain, and then you will be able to use your leg much better in a neurological way, because the brain already knows, okay, there's leg. It feels like this. And then when you roll your body, just with the fascia roll, your brain gets the info. And this is like really important for our dentists that we have. We don't make exercises with them, yeah, because they're right in the middle of work. But when we can take them out like 1 or 2 minutes, that they can use their time to be able to prepare for the job, we just tell them, okay, you do like neurologic training. You can get up, please, and try that. Really easy. You just like, I can't because of the mic. You just like use your neck, just rub your neck, really easy. This is like easy stuff in martial arts. People prepare themselves and warm up, just like massaging, yeah. And then we have sports massages before training, where they massage you, and then when you feel the pressure, you already know how to use that part much better, in a much better way. Meaning, like for your wrist, for shooting, you just like rub your wrist, and then suddenly when the feeling sensation comes to your brain already knows, okay, I have a wrist, and then how to like really use that. And if you use movements, like for instance, that's just warm up. For warm up, you just like run, and if you just shoot a couple shots, then your shot is better because you already know which muscle groups to use. But already, what's working is touching and feeling the sensation. Yeah, and especially for the parts that are injured. When we talk about ankle, that's a big part, because when you injure your foot, and then one of the tests is like you can use that with a electric toothbrush. You just put an old one like on your ankle, on your injured ankle, and then on the other one, which is not injured, hopefully, and then try to put the same amount of pressure on both positions on the same spot, and probably the injured one doesn't feel the same. It's like heat, cold, and vibration. And in order to function, and like for the ankle to come back, you better get those receptors working right. Yeah? So meaning, if you like injured yourself, all these things, they're gone. Or just like the level of the receptors, they have to build up. And if you don't give them time to build up, or you don't do that, for example, sensation, then you don't get the info from your ankle back. And then probably your brain tells you, okay, it's not safe to use that. I cannot run, I cannot jump, I cannot do a stop. Then it hinders you to do movement. So these are all the things that we can do: see, smell, listen, taste, touch. I already told you, seeing is the most important part. If your vision has a problem, you can't play. Yeah? This is, for example, you drive on the highway, clear view, you can go really fast. It rains, there's fog, you can't go fast. And you probably like have a problem. You think, okay, it kind of is weird to drive fast. And that's the same thing that probably happens when you have an injury and your body tells you, okay, it's not safe. And kind of when you drive on the road and you can't see really well, you won't be driving really fast. Yeah? Especially, or you run and you close your eyes and you run, and you, even if you know that it's straight, that there's nothing coming at your way, you cannot run fast. You won't. Otherwise, if you train it, you can probably do that and overcome that reflex. But we're really visual living animals. Inputs to the brain. So this is like all the inputs that you can have, that you can read when you have the slides. So this is important because you can get the info, and it's like a 10 to the power of 9 bit of seconds of input that you get info. That's a lot. That's a really high number. Then on the right side, that's the output, 10 to the 7th power. Facial expressions, voluntary motor skills, visceral motor skills, language, all these things. But then in the middle, the conscious process speed is 150 bit seconds, which is like really not a lot compared to the high numbers left and right. What does that tell us? That tells us like you better make sure that all the things work unconsciously, and all the technical skills, they work unconsciously, but that's what I already referred to, because the things that you can focus on right now is one thing. Yeah, it's not a lot of info, and if you want your players to be able to focus on a lot of things, then you make sure that everything is done unconsciously. I mean, I cannot focus on breathing. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Then I'm done, yeah? Because then my conscious thing is, my conscious capacity is already full when I have to think about breathing, yeah? So, motion control must be automatic if possible. When you see like, this is like I hope it works. Okay. This is like 2 years old. No, one. That's the son of my colleague. And when you see him running, it's like not really coordinated. Yeah. But when you see walking, for example, walking is like that everybody of us takes for granted, but it's really, it's a lot of things that are going on when you walk. For a newborn, it's easy. They learn walking from birth, like probably 8 months to 14 months. In that time span, babies can walk. Yeah? And if you take an adult who has an injury and he cannot walk, it takes a long time to get that back. Really long time. So even if that person was able to do it and with the spinal cord injury and stuff, but that motor ability to be able to walk again in a fluid motion, and then this is really important that we know and somehow know, okay, the things that we do, they're really really complicated in the background. Everything runs like there's a high processing computer doing all that stuff. Support and aiming, sensory motor skills, target motor skills, actual movement serves to achieve the goal of the movement actions. And then this is everything what I tell you probably is important that I think. But support sensor motors, global stability, stabilization of posture, balance. This is like the general posture. Like if you have your brain with 100% capacity, what do you think, how much of percentage is taken by just like maintaining posture? How much of your brain activity? What do you say? 10, 20, 30, 50? It's a guess. How much does the brain use to like really focus on posture, just like that you stand? 70? Okay, that leaves us with 30% for voluntary movement. Yeah? When I shoot, I just like stand here in order to just like not fall. You tell me, okay, it's 70%, and then I have 30% to make the shot out of the brain. Actually, this is too low. It's 90% of your brain capacity to focus on balancing. And then only 10% you have left in your brain to focus on motor skills and everything that we want to. So what we see on basketball courts and on every sport and people moving, it's 10% of the output. 90% is done for just like maintaining posture. And then what to know is like the left brain, we have a left and right brain. The left brain side controls the posture of the left side. Right brain controls the posture from your right side. Left brain controls voluntary movement of the right side. Right brain controls voluntary movement of the left side. Meaning, if I have a problem controlling my balance, for example, I have a problem on my left side because I stepped on something and I have an injury, and I'm a right-hand shooter, and I have a problem on my left side, balance-wise, so it takes up a lot of focus on my brain, but unconsciously, because I don't know how much percentage. I don't have like a level, a meter, which tells me, okay, you're up to 95%, only 5% left for shooting mechanics. But if you have a problem with your posture and holding your balance, then your motor output always has a problem. And take, for example, good shooters. They have good balance. They have great balance. They have the best balance probably ever. And then good mechanics too, yeah, of course. But at first, in order to shoot well, they have good balance. And if they do that and make, I mean, this is like something that we heard, I told you already in the beginning, this is something that we already know in every course. Lesson 1, be in balance, basketball player. And it all makes sense because of that. Yeah, that's the explanation that we tell you, or that neuroathletics it's nothing new. Yeah, they just like give you an explanation why that works and why it's so important and why I don't have a motor output if I'm not in balance. So 90% is taken up for balancing, and then if I have more problems, I will have more than 90% taken to be able to balance. My shooting motor skills are not that well. Yeah? So this is important to know for the global stability, and then I can actually do motor skills and target motor skills. Like, these are the things in training that you can focus on when you do coordination training. You can have it in training. You can always turn the knobs to make the level harder or easier for training, for coordination, and then it's easy. Like, you can do the precision, like pass into that box, then you narrow it down, then the target is smaller, for example. Time pressure, in basketball, complexity. First you dribble, then you dribble with a defender, then you dribble with a defender on the side, on the wing, on the passing station. This is like complexity. And then also the environment. For example, for basketball, I don't know, you don't have wind, yeah? But for outside sports, then you have environmental things. For basketball, probably bad lighting is probably also something that you can work on. And then with these things, you can like kind of turn the knobs on your basketball training, but this is also known to you guys. So, methodische Basisformel, okay. Coordination training, mastered skills, and difficult conditions. This is how you can do coordination training, or you can do it like this: mastered skills and information requirements plus conditions under pressure. This is like the thing that I told you before. Walk, run, blind, or over something, or on a narrow surface, and then on time, or use dribbling with running. Yeah, and then from here on, you can do, your imagination is your limit, yeah? You can do a lot of things. Especially for youth training, but why not for warm-up for professional athletes? And I already told you the 3 most important input systems. I mean, we can taste and smell, and if it smells bad, probably I'll probably be hindered to do stuff. But the first one is visual system. You have to make sure, if you want to have an impact on training, you use your visual system. Then vestibular system, your Gleichgewichtsorgan, and then proprioceptive system. These are the 3 systems that you can work on. Other systems like tasting and smelling, that's like more for wine and dine. When you go out and eat nice and have to write a report about a restaurant, if it's good, then probably these factors are important. But for basketball, for our sports, are these 3 things. And the sensory mismatch. This is like when you get an info, 2 requirements for sensory matching is clear info from the 3 systems, correct integration in the brain, and then everything works right. And then results of sensory mismatch is motion sickness. You know that probably when you're like passive driver in the car, some people can read and some people cannot read, driving a car or a train. And that's a sensory mismatch because if it's really smooth, the traveling speed, but your eyes see like on the sides that you're moving, but your vestibular organ tells you you're not moving actually, then some people get motion sick. And this is like a problem when the information doesn't correlate or doesn't make sense in your brain. And also motion sickness, fascial winding, scoliosis is also a problem when that can be solved. Pain, because for scoliosis is like when your receptors tell you different stuff, you also always try to like correct. You want to be in an upright position, and then if some receptors don't tell you that, your spine probably winds left and right, or has a torsion. The neurobehavioral disorders or movement disturbances, what we don't want to have. Neuro self-assessment. So let's go to more things how this is done. So like I've tried to like see if there are like scientific reviews about neuroathletic training, and so far science hasn't confirmed that it works. Although most of the things like that explained here makes sense, and it should work. But for example, and these are like self-assessments, and I first thought it was like some kind of hocus pocus, and then I went to and Lars Lienhardt did like a stage performance. He had like 100 athletes and trainers who were at the clinic. He was on the stage, and then he had everybody given some Lutschbonbon, like Hustenzucker, which tasted good. Then he had some good smell, like some scent, and then he had heat packages, and then also a fascia roll and all that stuff. And then what we did is like he handed it out to 100 of people, and then we did some exercises, and it's like we took the candy, then we smelled the good scent, and then we applied heat on the leg, and then we did all kinds of stuff, and then we had to think about a really good moment, yeah, where we feel well, yeah. Then we had to, like, in the beginning, there was the assessment, we did the movement, and then we had to do all the things. And then suddenly the movement was much super better, yeah. And I'd like to do a test with you guys. Just like, get up, please. Out of these, like, these are the neuro self-assessments. It might work on some of you guys, and some have a different response, the total opposite, according to the thread bucket, according to the experiences that you've made. For example, shoulder in a rotation, like go like this, bring your elbow on the height of your shoulder, and then like rotate up and down. Inner rotation is going down, yeah? Try to use that on both arms, and do it a couple times, and then try to like find out, okay, how far is the degree? For me, personally, I think the shoulder rotation is hard to see the result. This is like one neuro self-assessment, and according to the neuroathletic training, you do an exercise, and then you assess yourself again, and see, is it better or not? Okay? This is like, now we're coming to the part where we use stuff. Standing shoulder flexion is the same, and then toe touch, this is like this is the easiest one. Go down, legs straight. Do it a couple times, because you say, okay, we have been sitting like an hour now, and then of course it's not well. Do it a couple times, then you can say, okay, it's not. Okay. Good. Now get a partner. Try to remember how far you have been going, yeah? Okay? Now get a partner. Harry, come here, please. We do it like the arthrokinetic reflex. I just like grab his upper arm slightly, and then just like apply a pull. Yeah? Just apply a pull, and it should feel, he should feel like a pull on his elbow joint, but it shouldn't be like, it should be comfortable, yeah? And don't grab too hard here, okay? Just make a pull, 10 seconds. Use that. Try that. And then after that pull, if you've been pulled on, then just try to go down again. Constant pull. Now the hocus pocus starts, yeah? Now, okay, if you have applied the pull, the person pulled on tries to reach his toes again. Go again. I mean, for toe touch, we need the mobility from our backside and not the arm, yeah? We just did a total different part. Who had a better result? Did anybody have a slight better result? Okay. So what's the magic behind that? Okay, thank you. The magic behind that is usually, I already explained that, yeah? That's like, the arthrokinetic reflex is like mostly seen as something that your brain likes, that your body likes. Like it's a pull, like when you get up and you've been sleeping, cramping down, what do you like to do? You like to stretch out, okay? And your joints want to have space, yeah? In order to create space, you have a pull. And that arthrokinetic reflex, you're working on your receptors now. The receptors, they know, okay, there's a pull here. And then there comes the interpretation in your brain, and then it tells you, okay, what kind of pull is that? Is it safe or not? Okay? Now your brain tells you, mostly, if you've had good background info, like for like good memories from that or no bad experiences from pulling, then it tells your brain, okay, I can give free movement. Yeah? So this is like, we haven't been working on back mobility, yeah? And when you have your players coming in, most of them have been sitting, watching some social media videos, TikTok and Instagram and all on their phone, and they are sitting. And then, now that you want them to play basketball and train, so they have to be moving a lot, seeing a lot of things. So you have to get them from this position, only focusing here, to focusing there and moving in all kinds of directions. And this is like a big problem that we're facing now because everybody uses their phone all the time. All the time. And you want them to have peripheral vision and being able to move a lot. And there's a study in collegiate football players, athletes who practice 4 or 5 times a week, 2 times a day. And the rest of the day, when they're not training, they're sitting. And the problem is with that, they had a really high number of back injuries, like discus prolapses. And you think, okay, these players, they should be able to, like, it's not the sport alone, but they've been sitting a lot. The immobility away from the training session, that's a problem. And then like Alltagsbewegung, everyday activity, this is like something that's going down, but you will need that. And if people like narrow down their movement pattern, that has a lot of negative effects. And then take a basketball player, you have them like morning practice, okay, and then evening practice, there are a lot of hours in between, and if that player doesn't do anything, I mean, we should rest, of course, between practices, but if they're like only in this position, and then this position, the seating position that you're now into, 90 degrees, knees, hip, that becomes your normal posture. Your brain tells you, okay, this is normal, this position, yeah? What's not normal is then when you get up and start to like straighten out your hip. Yeah, so that's a thing that you have to know, that you have to, and in order to have mobility, you have to fight these things. For example, take another test. Now we don't move at all. Just get up, please. We don't do any movement. You need space left and right and around. Okay, clear stance. Stay on the position that you've been standing, okay? Take your thumb and twist it around and try to see your thumb and go all the way as far as you can go, and remember the spot that that your eye can see. All the way. Do it a couple times, that it's not a trick. Soran, ja, du musst runter, weil die Wand ist im Weg. Du bist zu beweglich. Okay, try like, and remember how far you can go on that position. Even use your head to turn. Remember how far you can look. Okay, and then after that, now I want you to just visualize without moving. I want you to close your eyes. Imagine that you lift your arm without lifting it, then you turn to the position without turning, just in your brain, yeah? Just like if you would do like a shooting motion and then you tell your player, imagine how you shoot. Now I want you to imagine you lift your thumb that you've been lifting up. You move to the position that you've been to, like before. And now we're in a comic, we try to go further. When you lose the thought of that movement that you go here, you start from the beginning. Close your eyes, listen to my instructions. Close your eyes, lift your arm just in your mind, without lifting it, just in your brain. You're lifting it, now you're turning to that side. And now you reach the spot that you have been reaching before. And now you go further. And now you're a comic person, you go all the way 360 degrees around. Only 1, 2, 3 turns, like in a comic that you would go like this, yeah? And if you lose the thought, start again. You lift your arm, you turn. Try to really think that through in your mind. You're going all the way to the side until you reach that spot and you go much further and it's easy. Okay, if you have that a couple times, open your eyes, do it. Do the movement. How far can you go? Better. Okay? Mostly it's better because now your brain knows that's it's not harmful for you. It's safe. You've been working it through your brain. And these are the things that you've been working on in your brain and the output, and you can imagine that you turn. And this is like something why different movements work and some things don't work. And you want to make sure that most things work. Active range of motion, movement quality, feeling pain. Like these are the things like in the neural self-assessment. And like now you've done the assessment, I've done brain training with you, you've been able to move better. Yeah? Now the thing is, how long does that effect last? Yeah? So you want to have that last long time, but the barrier, the movement barrier is not here limiting, it's here at first. That means when you do like a test, a mobility test, for example, like at every Leistungssportzweig, they have motors, speed, sprint, jumping, flexibility test. And then actually, when you want to test flexibility, what does it tell me, that score? Because I'm testing now a person, I don't know, have you been sitting all day in school and now I'm testing you, cold? Usually you don't warm up for mobility tests. But if he's able to he's relaxed, he comes in with no pressure, he's able to move better. If he's under tension, he's not able to move a lot. And imagine that for a player who has a lot of tension, they will get injured more easily, yeah, in a game. When they have a lot of tension, of course you want to have tension in basketball. You don't want to have a black roll like half an hour all the time, but you want to stimulate the muscles in order to create create a free map for the brain in order to move and get the motor skills out of it. So proprioceptive training is really easy. You have to create a really clear brain map, meaning you touch that, you roll it. That's why the foam roll, the black roll works. The black roll that all your players and you may be using, we are not changing tissue. Imagine that through the black roll you roll your thigh and then your fascial tissue will change just because of that pressure. That will be devastating for your body. Because if it's so easy to manipulate your body, it's that what's working. You have pressure applied to your thigh. The pressure signals pain, and then the pain in your brain is now it's asked, okay, that pain, is that real pain? Okay, it's real pain. Then what does the body try? Your body tries to give more muscle strength. Okay, if it goes nowhere, mostly you will loosen your muscle and then the brain, the pain goes away or is less. And then that's why the black roll works in the first. I mean, you also have Flüssigkeitstransport with the black roll. Okay, this is also one of the things that you do. But actually, you get the image in your brain that pain that you've been causing is no problem for you, so you can release movement. That's why the black roll works, but I can also do brain training with you. Okay, imagine that you can flex in all ways, and you can do that. So it's somehow the same thing. I'm preparing my brain, but it's easier to roll than muscle memory, really imagining it. This is tough, yeah? For patients who are there are good studies that show when you like imagine strength training, like you're doing a biceps curl, but without doing it, but you do it in the same speed in your brain that you move here, there have been neural activity has been measured, plus even increase in strength without even moving. But this is kind of tough to imagine 10 repetitions, 3 sets. I'd rather do the exercise, yeah? So proprioception occurs in every joint. Okay, we cannot see the last one. So these are all the receptors that I've mentioned. It's the second time that we have that. So this is like proprioception in the brain. What's that crazy thing? So the hands are really represented, and like the bigger the part, the more sensation you feel. Yeah? In that. Okay, you cannot see the laser pointer. So that means your mouth has a lot of sensation, your tongue, your fingers, and your eyes get a lot of info. And what's underrepresented is like the rest. The feet have good sensation, but the knees, they're not that well structured, and you can see that here. And there's a difference between sensor and motor output. Like motor output, like the facial expressions, these are like really, you have a lot of nerve endings and a lot of muscles in your face, your mouth, your eyes, and your fingers and hands. So hands are really important for basketball, for the shooting touch, and the eyes, you have to see. And the leg is like really not that important, but it works, you need it to run. But the sensation is not that well. Thumb, toes, genitals, on the left side, sensor. So these are the things how you get a lot. And when we have like toes, that's a big thing because we have our athletes packed in the shoes, in the basketball shoe, and they don't have a lot of sensation. And then we have really thick Nike Air, some gel, some bubbles, I don't know, whatever. Adidas has the bubbles, and all these things, they get you from sensation, yeah? So, but the foot has a lot of sensation, and the thing is we take that away from our players, and a lot of injuries also come from that. You see me wearing I have like minimal shoes. I used to be a really fetish about having the newest basketball shoe out, yeah? And I've gotten rid of all my basketball shoes like a lot of years ago. I put like 60 pairs of shoes in the box, and now I'm wearing a lot of minimal shoes and also try to go as much as possible barefoot, yeah? Why? To get that sensation back on my foot, because that's the first sensory input that you get from your foot. And then the big problem is like when I see I have in my mind the injury from Kevin Durant, twisting his, tearing his Achilles tendon. And then the problem is, I saw that video really often in slow motion. It's like he goes there, he steps, and then the air system, he is Nike sponsored, he's like boom, 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 and then it tears, yeah? And the thing is, and even when I do training with the patients, they come with their running shoes, and the running shoes are even worse because they have a lot of cushioning. And I do balance training with them. And then with balance training, they're standing on one leg and doing different stuff. And they tell me, ooh, let me take my shoe off. It's much better without the shoe. And then I'm thinking, okay. And then, but they run in those shoes. Yeah, they do a lot of stuff in these shoes. On a shoe that's wobbly. Now we do balance training. When we do balance training, most people they have that Eric's-Kissen, yeah, like, or you take a mat, fold it a couple times, then it's really soft. You go on it and you wobble, Actually, it's the same with your shoes. When you have a lot of like cushioning, it's the same. You're in the shoe, it's wobbling, and then it's kind of unstable. And then you have to play in these shoes. Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of pressure to absorb, and probably human body was not built for playing basketball and even jumping a lot, but we were running most of our times barefoot or in sandals, with shoes or with something just to protect the foot from cutting injuries. But actually a healthy foot is able to absorb according to the mechanics. And now with the shoes that we've been wearing, we're also able to run on our heels. Yeah? When you run barefoot on a hard surface, you will not be able to run on your heel. Or you will run and then you will have an injury on your heel, because nobody runs like that barefoot. Yeah? You run on your mid and forefoot. But the problem is, in order to change that, it takes a long time, or even it's not possible because we have been moving a lot. And with shoes that enable us to run on our heels. And then in order to change that back, to reverse the effect, it's kind of hard. But in order to like see the effect, what... Yeah. It is made... How much? Because is the human body made to run and jump for, I don't know, X amount of days, for X amount of minutes? Or would it be like the really smart move, after a certain time you switch to the more cushion shoes? See, this is like... I've been running with barefoot shoes. I tried that. And I was not successful. I was successful in the beginning. I ran a half marathon with sandals, yeah, in 1:30, 1 hour 30. And then I thought, okay, I can do this. But actually, it took me a long time to realize that I cannot do that. Yeah, because I've been wearing a lot of cushioned shoes all my life, 30 plus years, and then I've been wearing like minimal shoes most of the time the last 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. And then when I started to do that, I thought my body can do that. I can run in the barefoot shoes. Like Klaus, he's my teammate. They always laugh at me. They tell me when I go to practice, I'm coming with my Jesus sandals. Yeah, I'm playing with my Jesus Batschel. Yeah, and actually, I had 2 surgeries on my ankle because I was so immobile. Yeah. And the doctors predicted I will have ankle replacement, a joint replacement by the time of 10 years ago. So and then I've been thinking that this cannot be it. I cannot have some prothese like ankle. This is not possible for a 30-year-old. So I tried to think about some things, why things work. And then I've been working on like getting minimal shoes, using my foot strength, getting that back. It's not super, but I can run. And I wasn't able to run a lot because I was running and then I had 3 days of pain. And then for the foot, when you tell them, is the foot able to run basketball and jump basketball? It's in order that you have to build that up. It's not an insurance, but they will have better muscles. Yeah. If I do preventive training with you, strength training, I cannot guarantee you won't injure yourself in basketball, because when you play basketball, you have a risk to injure yourself. You can be best prepared, but you step on a foot, you're injured. Yeah. You step on a foot, you cannot do something about it. You maybe roll better, but the possibility is really high that you injure yourself, or somebody else just like hits you, steps on you. Like basketball is a problem. You can minimize the problems. And For that, like, now I'm getting my second child. My first child is like 4 years old, and the thinking is, okay, I'm going to buy shoes for him. What kind of shoes are there? It's like Gehlernschuhe, yeah? Lauflernschuhe, they're called, yeah? And they have really minimal soles, and they're really flexible. And then somehow, at a different age group, they stopped producing them. And I asked I was asking at the shop, a really good assistant, like, do you have these shoes? The Lauflernschuhe? They said, yeah, they're really good for the kid because now they feel everything and they can learn how to walk easily. And then I asked him, okay, why don't you have them in bigger sizes? What changes after that? Because everything stays the same. But now they produce like shoes which are really hard and thick, and I don't know why. Yeah? And then they like at the age of 7, they don't have Lauflernschuhe anymore. Yeah? And then I've been observing a lot of kids running with the shoes in kindergarten and on all the kids. This is like when I see somebody, I scan them. Even if it's a kid, or I see them if they're here, that's something that I do, and I watch kids, and then how they run, and what kind of shoes they wear. It's crazy. When you see sandals, they've been running in, their form, you've been putting them into something that they cannot run in, yeah, and then their movement is not really good, and they cannot run fast. So there's a big difference, but I know a little bit about shoes, but I'm not like the expert for shoes. But I just know the things that we put on for basketball might fit here, but I'm trying to find most flat-footed shoes, which don't have which are zero drop, meaning the heel and the forefoot are on the same height, which also doesn't make sense. Why do you have to have a shoe where the heel is higher in order to get a bigger measurement for the combine, the draft combine, to be 6'11" instead of 6'10"? I don't know why. It makes no sense for me. But what it does is it limits your ankle mobility when you wear it all the time. See, when women wear a lot of high heels, their ankle is gone. Their mobility, they cannot use that. And imagine you just like wear 2 centimeters or 1 centimeter higher heel every day. Your flexibility, that 1 centimeter, that matters probably for your jumping, that matters. Yeah. And also, I'm coming back to Neuroathletic because you need the sensory input. Because the thing is, before I did the ultrakinetic reflex, the pull, and why that is so important is your ankle is really important that you take care of that. And we don't have a lot of time for a lot of different training stuff, but what you can do is neuroathletic training. You can implement that in your training sessions, yeah, in warm-up. Really easily, because in warm-up you try to like get them ready, and then you warm their system up, meaning for example, you can do that by foam rolling the whole body. That's what already, but now you know why they should do that. Not a long time, but just like get a sensation here. Okay, next part here, the back, the thigh, inner thigh, outer thigh, butts, yeah, calves, and then for the ankle, you always have pressure because we're standing on your ankles or on our feet, yeah. So pressure is usually seen as like something where when you stand all the time, you have pressure on your joints, then you tensen up. And then what do you do for your shoulders? You try to hang and get a pull here. This is possible for the shoulders and for the upper body, but for the ankle, it's not that easy to hang because our toes are that short and we're not monkeys anymore and hang and grab on the bar. But what we can do is like, we just like do this. That's a pull. That's an ankle pull, like here. And for the ankle, it's a good sensation in order to like get a good sensory control out of that. what you can do is like try that. You just reach your partner, you close your eyes, you stretch out your fingers like this, and then the one guy touches 1 and 2 fingers, and you immediately say how many fingers are in between the 2 fingers that you've been touching. Like, try that. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. I have my eyes closed, somebody touches here, and I have to tell them, okay, 5 fingers in between, right away. Try that. This is like the finger test. Arms outstretched, fingers spread, eyes closed, touch 2 fingers at the same time. Respondent has to say how many fingers are in between. This is like proprioception, the whole body all the time, changing one part. Map changes the entire map. High payoff drills where many joints are moving. Yeah, try that. It's like just like sensory, just like to play with and get you. And T-spine mobility is also one thing. The T-spine is one part that is underrepresented in movement, but it's important for movement. For example, most rotation comes out of the T-spine, most degrees, and out of the lumbar spine, just like 2 to 3 degrees. Should be moving here. But if you're really immobile in your T-spine, you will move a lot more your head and your lower back. And that's also one of the problems for lower back problems, because this upper part, the T-spine, is really tense. And in order to like move that better, you have to really be able to like use that part. Try like moving that part and not doing the shoulder movements, but really trying to flex up and down here. This is, some people can do it, but with a couple people you see this. They're moving shoulders, and I've seen with patients where we work with, they're not able to move the upper body really well. They go like this, or do belly dancing or hip or whatever. But this is like something that you can work on. T-spine mobility, diaphragma breathing, like getting that part out. And then here, that's the thing that we're working on. Like, for example, for basketball, the ankle is one big thing. Try that. Go in this position, do it like 10 times slowly, slow pull. Then you go outside, you have a pull here, inside. That's an easy way to apply a different pull for your ankle. And this is also important to get that sensation back. Yeah? And this is like an easy way when you have that. This is like one common exercise, which is not that stupid. Yeah, Gelenkskreisen. It makes sense. Yeah, Gelenkskreisen. Like, warm up is always like, why do you come up with warm up? You want to prepare, but we do the circles, elbows. Yeah, then you rub here, shoulders. This is like basic stuff, but we don't do that anymore. Some people, we just like go in, run layups, or do the black roll, and then we just start training. But that makes sense. Rolling every joint, using that just for a short time. Easy, just like this. Pull, in order to get that created in your map, in your brain map. Ankle tilts. This is like this is one of the exercises. When you do that regularly, you will create a better map in your brain for your ankle injuries, or in order to move better. And it's like, it's not hocus pocus, but you have to try to do that on a regular basis, and it's really easy to implement. Tell your players before the game, before they practice, it's like 5 to 10 repetitions easily on that part, and that works. Same with the wrist in all directions. I mean, this is like no new stuff. We have been doing this, yeah? But now there's an explanation why we should keep going and do this, yeah? Like the figure movements, hand movement, or the pinky is the leading hand, yeah? And there's like the figure 8 with the hand is also important. These are easy exercises to do. Vestibular training, which way I'm going, which way is up. Allows clear vision, orientation, this is like also important. Balance training, really easy. Stand first, you have head movement, rotation, tilts, flexion, extension. That means you can turn, you can tilt, you can go here, okay, in every direction. Use that. First with both legs standing. If they get dizzy, okay, you know it's too much. I mean, you've been working with athletes. That should not be a problem. If that's a problem, then you have a problem. Yeah, because that player cannot be stable and it's not going to the maximum. Then you go to a narrow stance, then into an inline stance, then one leg, then with the eyes closed. And then from there on, you can do different stuff. And then you can do also combine vestibular training with eye training. And eye training that's the part one. I've been going through like first the proprioceptors, then the vestibular organ, and now the vision. Vision training is something that probably nobody knows or has done. And now the question is, because it's like Henne-Ei-Problem, yeah? Like what was first, chicken or the egg, yeah? And it's the same, like when we take a sports person who's really good at tennis, because tennis you need really fast eyes. Now the question is the player good at tennis because his eyes are really good? Or is he a good player, is his eyesight so good because he plays a lot of tennis? Yeah? So these are the things that, or baseball for the hitter, because baseball is like when they throw the ball at full speed at you and you have to, there's been studies that tell you that good hitters in baseball, when the fastball comes at you, they can see the how do you say in English? Yeah, the seams. They can see the seam, like they can focus their eyes, and the eye movement is so fast that it's really good, and they need to be able to do that in order to process that. They need to see that. If I cannot see the ball that fast coming at me, I cannot be a hitter. And then the thing is, what is first? Was he that good because he trained that a lot, seeing the ball fast, coming at you fast, or has his eyes been trained really well so that he can hit really good? Yeah? So for primates, vision is the primal sense. When you think of your eyes, all that really comes to mind is the ability to see clearly. People who have poor eyesight receive appropriate visual aids, glasses as compensation. When you have your kids, one of the basic examinations is, next to the pediatrician, is go to the eye doctor and go to the orthopedic, get the bones checked. But with the kids, the problem is immediately they get glasses, little kids. And then also what's a big problem is they also get like Einlagen, inlays, shoe inlays, orthopedic shoe inlays, at a time where that is not built. And I have not given them time to build up the muscle, because we haven't been using Schuheinlagen a long time, but I have to be able to give them the stimulus in order to build up foot strength. Yeah, most little kids, they all have flat foot. Yeah, but they have flat foot because they have not the time to build up the muscles. But if they have the time, they will get an arch. They will get strong feet. But if I put them into that cushioned shoe that takes away all the sensory, imagine yourself playing basketball in thick gloves. How will your sensor skills on your hands develop? Not at all. But we do the same with our feet. Yeah? And the same is with the eyes. Eyesight measured at rest with a contrast. But visual performance has an influence on posture, movement, perception of pain. And visual performance is not genetically determined, but it can be improved through training, because when we see, we use muscles. I mean, there's some some problems with the eyes when you have when you don't use them a lot. But the thing is, usually you train your eyes, and the thing is, we don't train enough. We train to look here really close, and looking close at an object, focusing. This is always a stress for the eyes. Relaxing your eyes is always looking far. Yeah? That's why they tell you at ergonomic workspaces, for every 20 minutes you work, you have to look at a far point. Yeah? And if you have an office space, no far point, it's pretty hard. And you know that when you work on the computer all day, your eyes get tired, they burn, and not a lot of good things happen. Eyes up. And this is like one thing that Eric Kopp tries to like, mostly when you look up, mostly it facilitates extension muscles. Alle Extensoren, yeah? When your eyes go down, you facilitate flexion muscles. He made us do that doing a pull-up, yeah? Like that grip, you're doing a pull-up, and he did the test. It says, okay, eyes down facilitates flexion muscles, meaning when you look down during the pull-up, and when you're doing the pull-up and looking up, there's a difference, yeah? There can be a difference. That means when you look down, he tells us that it's easier to stimulate the flexion muscle of our biceps, for example. That means it works with a couple people, but not all. And that makes it somehow a hocus pocus, because when you tell people go to massage, generally it's said after massage, after you have been applied heat and touching sensations, and they work your body through, you're more mobile and feel relaxed. But with a couple people, massage is terrible. But why is that so? It could be that they have made bad experience with touching, or maybe they had an injury there, and the brain tells you, okay, if you touch here and then I had a previous injury here, they tensen up. And with some people, the massage is the different effect. It's worse than before. Yeah? So you have to know somehow the background of the person. So right eyes facilitates right rotation, left eyes, that all makes sense because I'm looking up, down. When I go left, I have left rotation, so that makes all sense. Main components, biomechanically, detect the signal, eyes have various muscles, and the neural component is integration, interpretation of the signal, and even more, you have an output. So imagine the image is reduced on the head and it's mirrored. And the brain interprets the signal, yeah? The interpretation. This is important. And there's an experiment, it's like when people wear glasses, which flip the whole world around, like you see everything upside down with the glasses, after some time, you will see people straight again, because your brain knows it's not logic, and it calculates that, and it reverses that effect. So this is important when you're like upside down all the time. Somehow the brain tries to really process that and does it the way around. So the brain does the interpretation of the signals that it gets. And then you see a lot of muscles here. That's just the anatomy of the eye. Main function, stabilize. Like stabilizing gaze, ability to keep gaze fixed on the target. This is important for basketball. Keep your eyes on the rim. Don't look after the ball when you shoot. Shift the gaze, ability to move eyes in any direction to follow an object or shift focus to a new target. the eye muscles, the names, how they're called, inferior rectus, superior rectus, and there's like how they're called and how that you can remember them easily. Then eye movements, fixations, you have stares, you have smooth pursuits like Verfolgung. Then you have saccades, jumping, like take your thumb, focus on your thumb, and then focus on one point far away, and try to like switch, jump, 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 back and forth. That's saccaden. Like in vision training, you have that. I built that on my own. It's a Brockschnur, Brock string, for kids who cannot see really well. That's really a helpful tool to. You have that in front of your eyes, and you focus on the first one, second, third, and you make the jumps here. So that's like eye training, really easy. Vergence, and then you have all these three. Like one is you keep your head moving, but you can still focus on the point. That's number 5. Vergence is like going back and forth with your eyes and moving. And then the 5 elements of vision training is, and then the most important part for us is number 5, hand-eye coordination. What's important for eye training is like you really get a checkup at the doctor's, at the optician, like if you have a problem or not. And then it doesn't mean if you have bad eyesight that it's a problem, but then you have to have it corrected the right way. You have to have good glasses or lenses. And maybe for kids, not too early wearing glasses. Safe training, and sometimes people get sick and dizzy so that they don't fall. We have that with our patients where we do eye training. I'm talking about old people, retired people who have a problem here. Train with a partner, get a buddy, and get feedback. And then not then more than 10 to 20 minutes. Imagine that eye training is like really, it's exhausting for your eye muscles. You have to relax them, and then in the beginning, you have to have relaxation. Mostly, if you work a lot on the computer and on your phone, your eyes are stressed, and then there's a thing that you need to have visual reset and relaxation. These are like easy drills. Better vision starts with more relaxed eyes. This is important. So having people coming in after office job, and then they have like really not stressed eyes, it's a thing that you need to like get rid of. And it's really easy. Just easy stuff. The muscles here, you can also massage your eye muscles. You can try that. 5 seconds, light pressure, afterwards massage in circles. Yeah, you can really try that. Then what's also apply slight pressure up and down. This is really easy for you guys. Probably most of you guys work in front of the computer. 5 seconds flashing, like up and down, blinking with the eyes. Then also one palming. This is like really easy. You just get your eyes closed, close your eyes, get a palm that it's totally black. This is also like a way to reset your eye muscles. Yep. And then here, stabilizing in gaze. Hold the pencil front. Where's the moment? Here we go. 9 position gaze. Oops. You have a pencil in front of you. You have a good posture, and then you go into different direction, and you stare at one point, and have the most important thing is mostly our eyes operate in this area. Where we don't operate is when we go all the way up here and still be able not to move our head but be here. That means I'll leave my chin here and see the image sharp. Try to be there. There's like isometric training, like all the 9 positions, basic basis of all eye movements necessary to see objects. It's the same with all the movements. If I'm not able to use my arm in this full circular movement, I'm always working here, I will have a problem hanging or shooting, yeah? So that means I will have to be able to hang here. But if my eyes are not used to looking down here, looking up in all the direction, this is the movement, the muscles are not used to it. And I can train those muscles. Like this. Far gaze stabilization, you can also like look at one point and then like use and turn your head, yeah? That's a different approach. 3 to 5 repetitions, isometrics. Hold it here, hold your eyes, and keep the image sharp. This is like really easy. Hold position for 5 seconds and then you change. Smooth pursuits. It's the same. Use your thumb. You can use that, do the letter H, and keep your head here, and you try to see your nail, your thumbnail really sharp, and all that. And every time when it's getting blurred, you have to come closer, and then your goal is to go farther out all the way. And these are also muscles that you can work on. Eye circles, and this is exhausting. When you do that, try doing that, you should not be able, you should not like overdo it, because then 5 to 10 minutes, it's long, yeah? I'd prefer, like, I'd recommend like 5 minutes in the beginning, short, and they can do that everywhere, waiting for the bus. I mean, you can do that training, yeah? Eye spirals out, that means you go further and then you come back. Really easy. That's the big H that I've been talking about before. Eye switches. What you can do is like both arms, like you switch left and right, move and switch between these two. Or you have a partner if you want to see more. And for basketball, it's easier when you train the distances that you used to in basketball. Like get an opponent, get somebody with 2 sticks. On the end, mark the stick with a red color, and then they have to focus on both. And then that's great for defense. For example, I have 2 sticks moving, and the person has to do the cowboy stance and focus here, but look in the middle. Yeah, this is defense, help defense, vision drill. Yeah. Really easy when, for example, Johnny, when I have you, I focus my eyes on you, and then somebody left and right is moving, but I keep staring at you, and I just like point where the people are moving. So this is like a vision drill, and then I also try to do when I'm out of focus. When I still look at you and I lose the right guy, I tell them, okay, I can't see you, I can see you, okay? And you try to like really, and the coach can control if my eyes are on him, and then I have the peripheral vision. I mean, that's also basketball drills are done like this, yeah? You stand underneath the basket, your guy is here, he does a penetration here on the left side. And as soon as he penetrates and beats the guy, I have to stop him, yeah? So this is, actually we're doing this, yeah? But you can train the vision here. And the vision is the first thing. If you don't see it, you cannot play. Yeah, this is really important, yeah, because if I'm not able to do this, I can never play help defense, or I have to turn all the time. And this is like the minute I turn here, he might go, and I miss that, and it's maybe 1 possession game, and then that's the time that I could have stopped him. Pencil push-ups. This is like good to do with a partner. To see if the eye movements are, you can try that. Take your thumb or something, and then you come here, you come closer, and you focus, and you go again. Do 10 times, and your partner has to see if your eyes are moving symmetrically or if one eye is not going that well. Yeah, this is also some problem. If you don't, and one eye sticks, then your brain already tries to like compensate for it. And it also takes away your some kind of processing ability. Pencil push-ups. The peripheral vision that I told you already, this is like also for driving important. Maybe somebody comes from the left side and right side. While the athlete is performing a drill, gaze stabilization, the coach will move his or her hands on the peripheral vision. This is that what I mentioned before, seeing the help. Eye tracking, for example, really catching a ball, and then you go back and forth with a tennis ball, catch, and he has to really focus on watching the ball. Because usually when you like juggle, you don't look at all three balls, you look at the top ball when you juggle the balls, and then the rest is like through processing, I'm calculating where the ball might fall here. And actually with that one, if you do that with eye training, you go back and forth with the ball really fast, and he has to really see the ball in a clear way. Yeah? Really sharp image. And this is something I prepared for you. Let me see, where's my backpack? You go in the teams of 2, and you see stars on the left side of the line, on the right side of the line. And whatever comes to your mind, you can have, just everybody take every pair one sheet of paper. Oops. Okay. Okay. So what does that mean? That's like a coordination chart. That coordination chart you can use easily. If the star is on the right side, you give them, they have to clap here. Left side, clap here. In the middle, both clap, okay? This is like really easy, and then you skip one line to another, boom, 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 and have your partner in front of you. Can you come here, please? The one partner is just like holding, and there's like one with only the stars. I fold it. When the star is on the right side, you clap here, on the other side here, and both is here, or you clap here. And you go as fast as possible. Go.
In the middle?
Middle is both hands here, or you can do this, whatever. Okay, go.
And
yeah, go left, boom, boom, boom. Fast, fast, faster, faster. Faster, faster, faster. Go, go, go. Okay. You get that? You can do this with basketball too. You tell him, okay, fake left, fake right, shot fake. Yep. And then on the other page, you can do shot fake or jab step. And then from now on, if you get the idea how that works, you can have that practice with the kids here. For example, if you have the star, it's a shot fake, yeah? Shot fake in the middle. If it's left, you pass fake here. If it's a box, you do it with the foot, yeah? You do it with the foot, okay? Good. Basketball position. Now it's like shot fake left, shot fake right. Star in the middle is shot fake here. If it's on the left, the star, pass fake here. Yeah, and if it's a square, you do the fake with the foot, yeah? But the middle, if it's a box in the middle, we stay with this, okay? Good, go. Yeah. Okay, you get the idea, hopefully. So this is like where people can really focus, and it's like hand-eye coordination, yep? Yeah, you can take that. An assessment, 1 minute duration, as fast as possible, that tires, and this is like something that can also be fun, something different, but it's reaction and eye training, yeah? This is like something practical now, because in the beginning, like there's a lot of talking how that works. I hope that you guys get that. Now here, the infinity walk. this is like also a great warm-up drill. I put an X mark here and an X here. I put one cone here and one here. And the thing is, I marked with a tape and an X here on the wall, and I try to like walk and still always focus the X, yeah? Without looking down, yeah? The coach can, and then this is like really easy. You try that with walking, and then if you go the other way, then you have to turn like this in order not to. And then you can run, and then you can dribble the ball, of course, yeah? This is like really easy, just to get the stimulus that they have head movements, eye movements, plus coordination drills, and then you take dribble goggles, they dribble, they do the figure eight, it's easy setup, yeah? Now you have a basketball drill. And you have vision, and you have hand-eye coordination and everything. So, I mean, these things you have been doing a lot. Now I've been showing like a couple things where you can go on and work on these things, where you know, okay, I can implement that. It's not like that you work on and do an assessment with all the players. That's personal training. That you need an assessment, you do that, and then you have an exercise that you give the athlete, and then you see, like according to the self-assessment test, is it better or worse? Like for weightlifting, going to a 1 repetition maximum, this is like really easy because we have a guy who has tomorrow Staatsmeisterschaften. He's the second strongest Olympic weightlifter, and then for these guys, in order to know what kind of weight, they use the self-assessment. Like for example, he goes down. Okay, good, I'm feeling well. Then he goes there and jerks the bar, yeah, and he does the same, puts more weight on, does that, and if it feels weird, yeah, okay, probably that's a possibility. Okay, I don't go further, yeah, in order to injure myself. So that's like the self-assessment. Is my body ready to do this? Yeah, these are the things, but you have to really test that on yourself, and not everybody's the same. Some people respond well to touching sensation, some don't. Yeah, some people respond well to this, and that kind of makes it somehow hocus. There's no sign for it, but usually you have to know. Some people, they know. For example, for me, it's what really works well is really pressure points and the fascia roll. For me, that works really well in being able to move well, because my shoulder is a problem now after that injury. It hurts a lot when I twist here, and then when I roll it out, I have no pain at all. But it lasts only half an hour, yeah? Which kind of makes it a bad thing, because half an hour, then I would have to, if I would have to implement that, I mobilize, and then I strengthen. Then I have the whole package. Some people, they just like go to the massage, it's good, then it lasts half a day, and then tomorrow they have the same problems. But if they want to have a good effect, for example, you roll in order to get the mobility back. You do movements, you mobilize, then you can use it, and then you strengthen also the antagonists, that you're able to do it, and then you get some results that last longer than half an hour. That's how that should work. So neuromobility, there's a lot of stuff. I hope that you guys know that there's the proprioceptors, the vestibular, and the eye training, that most people they have their performance on that. Nothing new. There's still one more thing, is breathing. I haven't covered, but breathing is more for patients who have pain problems. Yeah, I mean, it's not. It's also good for basketball players to be breathing well, but you get most out of it when you use your proprioceptors, your balance your vestibular organ and your eyes with it. And some things you have to somehow try to do trial and error. Don't change it at all. I mean, try to implement small things and try to like do one thing at a time, and then try to do it on a regular basis. This is like really important. You won't get results when you do one thing today and then tomorrow this different thing. That's what I've realized with most people in sports. The really good ones, because I've been following a lot of Instagram people doing athletic training, and they do a lot of weird stuff, yeah, a lot of crazy exercises and all that. And we with the beach volleyball national team, we focus like for every level, it's the basic training that matters. The most healthy people that I've seen, like 80 years old and plus, who are not sports people, are not people that are like gym rats. These are people who do 10 minutes of gymnastics, but every day. Every day. They do 10 minutes of gymnastics. Some old lady comes in, can move really well, 85 years old. I'm asking, what are you doing? I don't do sports. And then through asking her, she says, okay, I got some exercises from my grandfather that I'm doing every morning, like rolling and whatever. But she does it every day, 10 minutes. And they keep an active life, walk every distance, don't take the elevator, take stairs. And that works. And for athletes, you don't have to do crazy exercises. The thing is, work on a basic strength coordination program, but work it through all the way. If you do it on a regular basis, people will get good. And you need to have your hips mobile, your T-spine mobile, and you have to be really strong from here to here. Yeah? And that's the basis of like athleticism. And then you can move a lot. Yeah? And be also probably hopefully injury-free. Yeah? So implement some bits of these things where you know your athlete gets most out of it, and do it on a regular basis. Yeah? Don't like do this and then change a lot, blah, blah, blah. Try to do something all the way through, 5 minutes every day, or 2 minutes, and he does it every day, okay. And if the athlete wants more, you give him more. Okay? Thank you.